I'm just gonna say it, okay? Doom Eternal is one of the best FPS games I've ever played, and definitely one of the best FPS games of this generation. The last game that got my heart pumping this hard was Sekiro, and that game's sole purpose is to make your heart explode. Doom is a franchise that is very near and dear to my heart, as the classic Doom was one of my favorite childhood games, along with Quake and Duke Nukem 3D. Was I just a bloodthirsty kid, or was that what games were at the time? Spawn a bunch of disgusting demons and make the player feel like a badass for simply mowing them down in the most brutal ways possible. There wasn't really a formula to follow like there is now. These games are still remembered to this day because they were the ones that came up with the formula. Over the decades that passed though, that formula has mostly morphed to appeal to the widest market of casual players, and with that became sort of watered down and less impactful than it used to be. There are notable exceptions of course, but when I say formula, I'm talking about the average safe way to make FPS games. Those that have the balls to step out of these boundaries are usually the ones worth talking about. Everything else can sort of be put in the same basket. id Software had the balls to stick so closely to the foundation that they built almost 30 years ago, and to just not care about PC and outrage culture that end up influencing the decisions of so many development studios. This allowed them to create one of the most fun gaming experiences in recent memory. Of course, this game is not for everyone, but if you're tired of video games feeling too video gamey, or you're wondering why you're not having fun with games like you used to, do yourself a favor and try Doom Eternal. When Doom 2016 came out, I thought it was the perfect reboot, and it was. Doom Eternal is the perfect continuation of the franchise in 2020. There are already 5,000 reviews out there, so in this video I want to talk about the mechanics of Doom Eternal that make it so satisfying, because I think it's interesting to sort of analyze these things that you don't normally think about while you play. For reference, I'm playing on ultra violence, and I think that is the difficulty at which some of these things that I'll be talking about really come into play. Number 1. Movement and control. The speed of the Slayer in classic Doom is one of the things that adds a lot to the overall fast pace of the game. To be honest, when I saw the gameplay videos of Eternal before playing it, I had a tiny bit of a concern that the base speed of the Slayer was a bit too slow. It goes without saying that playing the game abolished all of those concerns. The Slayer controls so well that it's astonishing. You fly around the map and bridge these giant gaps effortlessly. The game never stands in your way when you want to bash a demon's head in. There's zero unnecessary animations that take away from the responsiveness like we're used to in so many other games. As soon as you press the glory kill button or the chainsaw, the game does everything in its power to react to that with virtually zero delay. Control is such an important aspect of why you feel like a goddamn badass in this game. The dash and meat hook are both very welcome additions that add to this even further, and I like that you get the double jump right off the gate, unlike in Doom 2016. Number 2. Progression. Doom Eternal does not throw participation trophies at you every step of the way. It instead makes sure you work your ass off and then get compensated accordingly. Reaping the benefits of your hard work is much more satisfying than just straight up being handed random power-ups, but a key element in this is making the rewards worth your while. Eternal's progression is amongst the most rewarding I've ever come across in a video game. Exploring, killing demons, and doing optional challenges will get you new weapons that all play differently. 2 mods for almost all weapons that can completely change the way you use them. On top of that, multiple power-ups for each of those mods, including the mastery one that you earn by doing a challenge. Oh, and also Doom Eternal doesn't play around with bullshit incremental improvements of 2% faster reloads. Every single one of these mod power-ups is substantial and very noticeable. Same thing goes for the suit upgrades. There's 20 of them, some probably unnecessary, geared towards exploration, but others very useful in combat or movement. Sentinel crystals will let you increase your max health, armor, and ammo, and on top of that, there's 6 additional perks you can unlock through these upgrades. On top of all of that, you can also unlock runes that will give you certain bonuses such as slowing time. And of course, for the completionists among us, the in-game collectibles can also count as rewards. All I can say is, that's a lot of fucking rewards. Number 3, difficulty. In Eternal, more than ever before, you feel like an unstoppable demigod mowing down everything in front of him, but at the same time there's a constant fire under your ass that you're trying to run from. All of your godly power could collapse at any time if you slip up for just a second and make the wrong move. That's what differentiates Eternal from, let's say, a typical hack and slash game. In both of these examples, there's a ton of enemies in front of you and you're destroying them with ease, but only in Doom do you feel like there's something substantial at stake. Of course, these are different genres with different purposes. I'm just trying to illustrate how simply powering through a ton of enemies is not in itself enough to give you that satisfying feeling of power. At least on ultraviolence difficulty, you're forced to make use of every resource the game designers have provided you with. This is where I think the genius of Doom Eternal lies, even more so than in the previous game. Whenever I got lazy and tried a more conservative approach, I got ripped to shreds within seconds. If you want to come out on top in an encounter, you have to double jump, swing, dash, hook, make use of the level design to avoid enemies, find ammo, health, armor, and power-ups scattered throughout the map, extract ammo, health, and armor from demons using the chainsaw, fire blast, and glory kills, make use of the grenade and freezing blast, and use multiple weapons and their mods. It's almost like a complicated dance, and once you get into the rhythm, you feel like you've conquered the game by improving yourself rather than collecting upgrades. This for me is flawless game design, and I honestly cannot praise this game enough. The flaws that I've seen some reviewers talk about seemed more like nitpicking to me. For example, the platforming, which some said felt a bit lackluster. For me, I not only didn't mind it, I actually enjoyed the platforming. It was very easy and it gave me a break from the chaos of killing hordes of demons. I don't know if there is a single player FPS game out right now that I'd recommend over Doom Eternal. I obviously didn't cover multiplayer, as pretty much no one buys Doom for the multiplayer, and that's a totally different experience developed by a different team. But regardless, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. I don't need to tell you. You don't have to do anything, just click away and watch a different video. But thank you for sticking around so far, and thank you for subscribing, leaving comments, all that. I really get pumped up to make new videos when I read comments, so if you've made it this far, please leave a comment with like anything. Tell me about how your quarantine's going, I don't know.